welcome back to my channel. So it is actually in the middle of release week for me, my very first release for my book One Big Mess, and I'm really excited about it. Things are going well so far, except with my Amazon issues, but I talk about all that in another video. This is going to be a different video. And I just got some really nice comments about my book from someone who's reading it right now, and it gave me the idea of doing a video about how I came up with the idea to write One Big Mess. So I thought this would just be a fun video to do. It is a story, if you don't know, if you haven't watched my channel, One Big Mess is a story about a teenage girl, and her mother is a compulsive hoarder. And so she is trying to help her mother. She's trying to, stop her mother from hoarding. She's trying to get her mother some help. And so she gets the idea of getting her on one of those hoarding reality shows to help her. And that is how I came up with the idea. Those hoarding reality shows, I love those shows. I don't know why. I don't know why I have an obsession with the hoarding reality shows, but there's Hoarders, and there's TLC's Buried Alive, which TLC's Buried Alive, I think that was my favorite. I really like that one. I like those two shows because they have people who go in and they really do try to help these people. They have these, licensed psychologists and, who specialize in hoarding, and these professional organizers. And from what I understand, a lot of these shows, they do a lot of follow-up after the show care. They follow up with the person, which I think is really great. And hoarding is, it's a mental illness that not a lot of people understand. With mental illness just being, such a, it's an issue that I think everybody should be talking about. And, I just did this book, I thought it would be a good, I wrote the book because I wanted to write the book, but it also addresses compulsive hoarding. Now, in addition to those two hoarding shows, A&E's Hoarders and TLC's Hoarding Buried Alive, there used to be another show which I loved, and maybe you remember this show, but it was on TLC, another TLC show. It was called Clean Sweep. Does anybody remember this show? I loved Clean Sweep. Clean Sweep to me is kind of like Hoarders Light. They would feature a family, and most of their house would be okay, but they may have had one or two rooms that were a nightmare, just a lot of clutter everywhere. If you open the door, it looked like they were a hoarder. So they just had one or two problem rooms in their house. And so what they would do is they would come in and they would take everything out of the room, and they would take it outside. They would put it on these tarps, and they would organize it. And then what they had to do was the people had to go through their belongings and pick out what they wanted to keep. But here's the catch. They only had 30 minutes. They only had 30 minutes to get all the things that they wanted to keep. And after that 30 minutes, anything that they didn't grab was tossed out. It was gone. And then what they would do is they would put the belongings back into the room, but they would organize it in a way that worked for them. And they would redesign the room and make it look beautiful. And it was just such an awesome show. I love that show. And it was also hosted by Tava Smiley. I love Tava Smiley. Probably no one knows who she is, but she used to be on General Hospital. She played Chloe on General Hospital, and back when I was in college, she was just one of my favorite characters on soap opera. I just loved her. She was a fashion designer, and then they killed her character off, which I was so upset when they killed her character off. But then she went to TLC and was on this show. And there was I forget the other guy that was on the show. He's this guy who had a British accent. I think his name might have been Peter. I don't have to look that up. But anyway, I remember Tava was the host of this show. So I kind of had the idea to have this made up show that I made for my book. Clean It Up was the name of the show. And Ryan Porter was the character I made up. Ryan Porter was the host of the show, and I had this idea. This is where this idea came from. I had the idea of making him like, you know, he used to be on a soap opera and he was like killed off, and now he's the host of this hoarding show. So that's where I got that idea. So I've always watched these hoarding shows, and I have like I used to watch a lot of like designing shows too, like TLC's, a lot of shows on TLC. Like I love them, like Trading Spaces, and there's some other ones, but I love shows like that. And so I had this idea to create a show where not only they would help with the hoarding, but then they would make like the house really beautiful and a comfortable place for the people to live in. And so I always knew, I had in the back of my mind, that I wanted to do a story with a character who was a hoarder. I didn't really know who that character was going to be yet. I didn't really know. And then I know one day I was watching some old episodes of Hoarders or Buried Alive. I don't remember which one it was. But there was a teenage girl, and she was like around 14 years old, and her mother was keeping things in her bedroom. And then I had the idea. How about I have a teenage character and her mother is a hoarder, and she's trying to do everything she can to help her mother, but it's just not working. And then from there, I just kind of created the rest of the story. I had the idea for the older sister. So it seems like a lot of these shows, like if they have like a younger sibling who lives at home with a hoarder, and like there's an older sibling who lives, you know, far away, and it's like they come back and they haven't been, you know, at the house in a long time, and now they're back, and now they see how bad the hoarding has become. So that's how I got the idea for Claire. I thought, okay, you know, she's the sibling that's been far away, and she's coming home, and she doesn't get along with her mom, and now she's going to see how bad the hoarding is. And then also in these shows, I've seen a lot of divorced couples, but like the ex is, you know, maybe like kind of still around, but you know, the hoarding is kind of what broke them up, and maybe some other issues too. And so I just had this feeling that Gracie's parents were split up because, you know, this woman, her mother, she's just had a lot of things going on. You know, she's had a lot of loss in her life. I've seen enough of these hoarding shows to know that a lot of times what happens is that the person will have something traumatic happen in their life, and it just kind of starts this thing going on, and maybe they had other issues too, like depression or OCD or, you know, something else. But anyway, usually it's something traumatic in their life that kind of triggers this thing, so to speak. So I kind of put all of that in my story. And then like I wanted to create like Gracie's, you know, friends, and like her high school. What's her high school life? You know, when I was in high school, you know, my friends were, you know, they were the ones that I always spent, they were the ones I spent most of my time with. And I've had friends that had to move away, and I was really sad about that. And when I started thinking up of ideas of the story, I kind of just had this idea in my mind that Gracie liked to make documentary films, and I was trying to figure out like how I could incorporate like a documentary about hoarding into this story. And then just the idea of film club came to mind. We've had a film club at the library I work at, and I was like, maybe this high school has a film club, and it's run by like this really cool teacher that everyone knows and loves. And like the idea for the Alien movie, okay, I got that from, there was this Netflix show. I cannot remember the name of the show. It was like a 1-season show, and the character, the girl in the show, she was on Grey's Anatomy for like a while. I mean, she played like a minor character, but I cannot remember the name of the show. But anyway, there was this show, and it was like about this high school in the 90s, and they had like this AV club, and like they were making, you know, this alien movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna like have my like film club students like make some kind of movies, and so that was just like a really fun little subplot that I could like put into the story. But yeah, like it just all came together. And I wrote this story. I came up with the idea for it in August of 2019, and I wrote like 15,000 words of it. And then in October of 2019, I had a car accident, and that whole entire month was completely stressful, and I didn't hardly get any writing done at all. And so then after that, of course, was NaNoWriMo, and so I decided NaNoWriMo was going to be when I finished this story. Well, maybe not finish, but I decided I was going to get back on track with that story and get a whole lot of work done on the story. And I got like, I did get the 50,000 words, and then I kind of had I got burned out on the story after that. So then in early 2020, I came back to it and I finished it. The end of 2020, no, yeah, end of 2020, and then the beginning of 2021, I got most of the edits done. So this story, I mean, it's been a while, you know, it's taken a while. It's been a process, but it has been really, really fun to write this story. I really, really love it. I hope you love it too. If you check it out, you can buy it, or you can see if your library will buy it, and you can read it for free if you check it out at your library. Or you can just buy the ebook. It's like $3.99. Or the paperback. Now, I will tell you the paperback. I don't know when I'm going to post this video, but I'm having issues with the paperback, like taking a long time to be shipped out, and they Amazon jacked up my price because it was supposed to be for $14.99, and they jacked it up. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, hopefully that'll be all resolved soon. But anyway, that's how I came up with the idea for One Big Mess. And I don't know, it's just one of those ideas that just hit me, because I was writing another story when I got this idea, and like the muse just kept like tapping me on the shoulder like, hey, I've got this really great idea. And I came up with this story, and it just came to me, and I wrote it. And I decided that this was going to be the story I published first, because this is not the first story I have written. I have written some other novels before. They are not published yet because they're not ready yet. But I really felt like this one had the best chance of being ready. This one, you know, it was clear that there was clear conflict, there was clear stakes, and it just felt like it had the best chance. So that's why I decided to publish that one first. And it's not really part of a series. It's a standalone. Although I think I'm going to come up with a story for Jilly. I've already got a title for that one, but I'm thinking One Big Mistake. But I don't know what the mistake is yet, so I have to think about that story. But I'm gonna think it. Maybe the muse will tap me on the shoulder and give me an idea for that. I don't know. But yeah, so it can be read as a standalone, so, you know, there's nothing, I don't have to worry about like, oh, I better get the next book out, you know. I got some time. Okay, well, this video is getting kind of long. I'm gonna wrap it up. And I hope you read One Big Mess. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. And if you like it, if you check it out, if you read it and you like it, please give me a review like on Amazon or Goodreads or wherever else you bought it. I would really appreciate it. All right, see y'all later. Bye.